This ain't good.
Damn. How far did he fall?
2 kilometers, easy.
Stay sharp. Gorman?
His armor's locked up. Gel layer could have taken most of the impact. I don't know, Sergeant Major.
Radio for Vital. Heavy lift gear. We're not leaving them here.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, crazy fool. Why do you always jump? One of these days, you're gonna land on something as stubborn as you are. And I don't do bits and pieces. Where is she, Chief? Where's Cortana?
Don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it.
She stayed behind.
Corporal, make it quick.
Sorry, sir. Your armor's still in partial lockdown.
Welcome everybody, Josh here, back again today with a brand new YouTube. We're talking about Halo 3 on the Halo the Master Chief Collection. So, as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of the Halo franchise. I've been playing Halo ever since, basically Halo 2, then went back and played Halo CE, now we're on to Halo 3. Now, as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of the Halo franchise, like I stated before, and Halo is one of those video games that's basically like comfort food for me. You can't really go wrong with playing the Halo franchise from, either Halo CE, Halo 3. I think that Halo Reach, while it's a good game, it's basically when Bungie stopped caring about the Halo franchise. I think that Halo 3 was a fitting conclusion for the Master Chief saga, and then we kind of got more after the fact. And I think that with Halo 3, it's basically humanity's final stand against the Covenant. Covenant are an alien race that's bent on humanity's destruction, and so Master Chief, as well as the crew of the UNSC, are trying to fight survival. And it's really one of those storytelling masterpieces that rarely happens in video games. I think that when this came out, everybody was super hyped, super excited. It was one of those video games that actually lived up to the expectations that fans such as myself and many others basically set stone for it when it originally launched. And being as it may, I think that this is one of those games that really affected a lot of people. Halo was really compared to that of the likes of Star Wars, bigger than life. Everything about the Halo franchise was really at its peak when Halo 3 came out. And some would argue, like me, that Halo 2 was the peak of Halo, but I think that a lot of people really jumped on board in terms of the Halo franchise. With Halo 3, it had a really solid campaign experience. We were basically fighting the Covenant, and the Covenant basically discovered Earth in which the year of 2552 and 2553. And so this is basically Master Chief as well as the UNSC trying to take fight the Covenant on their own turf. You've got really big missions where they're a little bit open world, but they're not really open world because you're trying to fight in a linear landscape. And so you got these missions where you're trying to board a Scarab, which is pretty cool. You have a couple of different missions that take place on the Halo Ring world itself, and you get some really cool death sequences that happen that I think were really unexpected at the time. Some would argue that with the death of Sergeant Johnson, in which the humor, the one-liners that were really prevalent within the game kind of went away with it. But I really don't think that. I think that even though Miranda Keyes ends up dead, spoiler alert, as well as Sergeant Johnson trying to protect humanity from the Flood, I think that this is a story that kind of needed some really high-stakes action sequences, and there's a really lot of them with Halo 3 itself. And I think that without those pivotal moments of franchise where you kind of see Master Chief and the Arbiter come to odds with each other, in fact, they're trying to help each other fight off the Flood that's basically made its way to Earth after the Prophet Truth, I think it is, basically opened up the Ark and allowed the Flood to kind of infest itself with Earth's atmosphere. And I think that scenes where Earth being overrun with the Flood is very horrific. These games, in the first couple of missions are your typical science fiction, action, adventure, war film, but then towards the middle, you always get that sequence where you're kind of introducing the Flood. There's that really cool sequence where the Arbiter's looking out to the Ark and he's like, what is it, more brutes? And then Master Chief is like, worse. And then you kind of get that really cool action set piece that takes place in sort of the UNSC hangar. You get that Flood sequence that kind of, just scares the living shit out of you. And I think that the Flood in this game is really terrifying. There's a lot of really cool missions that take place in there. You kind of delve into the backstory between Master Chief as well as Cortana. You learn that he is, even though a machine basically inside the armor suit that he kind of wears to kind of protect him from outside forces as well as plasma blast and stuff like that, he is at his heart a human being. And I think that's really reflected on with the Halo 3 story. Master Chief is a stoic hero. He is basically one of those people that doesn't really have a lot of one-liners, but he says enough to kind of get point across. And I think that's something that's missing, even with the Halo series, is the fact that a video game or a movie is only as good as its one-liners. And I think that's definitely the case with Halo 3. You get Sergeant Johnson back, who eventually, like I said before, perishes, but he has some of the greatest lines in this entire video game franchise. He's easily one of those characters that's a badass and one of those characters that I think that everybody can kind of relate to. He's first and foremost serving the military in the UNSC. He's basically trying to also fight for his survival while trying trying to kind of remain human at the same time. And I think that all these characters and all the actors that are within it, especially Ron Perlman plays Lord Hood, did a really solid job. And I think that Steve Downes is just as good as he was in even Halo CE or 2. This feels like a really big, solid blockbuster film, but condensed into a video game form. And I think that you really couldn't do this any other way, especially with Halo 3, with how big scale is, the weapons, the classic weapons that return, along with some of the newer weapons that Bungie introduced in this game. You also get new vehicles that, along with sort of the old ones like the Warthog. You get Banshees that return from Covenant side. You get Ghost that appears once again in this game. You also get the new Brute weapons, which are the Brute Shot. You also get the Brute vehicles that you can kind of, use to go around the terrain and the map. And even though this is a more linear story, this story feels massive in scope. It's one of the shorter Halo games in the franchise, and even with the campaign feeling as short as it does, you never really live that scale that the Halo franchise is known for. And on top of that, you get the Covenant, who is this genocidal alien race that basically hates humans. All they want is humanity's destruction. They believe the Forerunners, who are basically trying to eliminate half the universe, is basically a Thanos-style threat. The Halo universe, where if you activate the rings, basically all life in the entire galaxy basically perishes, and they're basically using that to kind of stop the flood, and you don't realize till later on that's what the Covenant is basically after. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dark returns in Halo 2 and eventually fights for the humans in Halo 3, and you see a lot of these elites that were once disgraced by the Covenant basically turning sides and joining the humans as well in this game. So I think that's really cool to see, along with some of the other character arcs and the character development they get from the Halo CEs. You get a Halo 2 story arcs kind of building to this crescendo, and it's really, really amazing video game that I think that anybody who's a fan of storytelling, world building, should definitely check out, such as I have done in the past. And it's easily one of those video games, like I stated before, like Halo 2 or Halo 3, that I kind of come back to time when I want something that'll make me feel good, that'll kind of be like comfort for me. And I think that the multiplayer in this game is rock solid. I don't really have any gameplay footage of that, so I haven't really played the Halo multiplayer side of things in a while. Maybe kind of go back and re-film some of that for you guys, and maybe put some of that in this as B-roll footage for this review. I think it really doesn't need it. The story alone is just as great as any other sci-fi, action adventure war film. I think the storytelling in this game is great, and I think it's definitely something should be studied in terms of, future film classes, or even people studying to screenwriters in video games. And I think that it's definitely one of those things among many that could inspire myself as a storyteller, a screenwriter, and a world builder myself to kind of create my own universes and stuff like that. So Halo franchise itself really means a lot to me. It's definitely been there for good times, bad times in my life. And I think that even carries on to some of the newer games of the franchise. While they're not as good as the Bungie era days of Halo, I still think they hit their mark, and especially with Halo 3 in general, you really can't go wrong in this game. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Halo 3. Did you really like this game when it first came out? Did you play it when it first came out? Did you play it later on? I think that it's kind of sad that we haven't had a Halo 3 anniversary edition of this game yet, but I definitely think that with the level of fidelity of it on the Xbox Series S as well as Xbox Series S right now, you really don't need it for Halo 3. I think this game is rock solid as is, and I think that, even with sort of a more graphically intense version of Halo 3, the story itself still holds up to this day. So as always, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Halo 3, and sort of what is your other, favorite video games in the Halo franchise, and I'll get back to you guys in another video. Peace out.
Chief? Can you hear me? I thought I'd lost you too.
What happened?
I'm not sure. When Halo fired, it shook itself to pieces. Did a number on the Ark. The portal couldn't sustain itself. We made it through just as it collapsed. Oh, some of us made it. You did it. Truth and the Covenant, the Flood, it's finished.
It's finished.
I'll drop a beacon, but it'll be a while before anyone finds us. Years, even. I'll miss you.
Wake me when you need me.